If you're someone who really values financial security, and, I mean, let's be honest, who doesn't? There's probably one rule you swear by. Keep your money somewhere safe. For most of us, well, that means the bank, right? You
Well,
deposit it, maybe it earns a tiny bit of interest. You trust it's safe from, all the chaos out there. It just feels like the default secure option. But the sources we're looking at today, they suggest something really fascinating that maybe the world's most financially savvy communities operate on, like a completely opposite idea.
exactly.
We're diving into a way of thinking about wealth that actually avoids that comfort blanket of just letting money sit there. They seem to believe money has to be moving.
Always.
And that's the real paradox we need to get into today. If the people who arguably mastered finance, decades or even centuries ago, weren't using banks as these permanent vaults, then we really have to ask ourselves, why are we doing that? This deep dive, it isn't just about, say, investment products. It's much deeper. It's about potentially shifting your whole view of what assets are for.
Our sources are actually remarkably consistent on this point. Money only really grows, it only proliferates. When it's allowed to circulate, it has to be active. Keeping it still isn't security. It's more like a slow decay.
Hmm.
So, for you listening, the big question we're unpacking is, well, it's simple but kind of profound. Are we actually controlling our money? Or are we letting the idea of keeping it safe end up controlling us?
Wow. Yeah. That completely flips the power dynamic, doesn't it? Suggesting maybe our fear of losing money is the most expensive thing we own. Okay. Let's unpack this. Let's look at some of the historical evidence that kind of highlights this philosophy of movement.
Yeah.
We found this incredible historical detail. For quite a long time, this community didn't just, participate in European finance. Our sources suggest they actually, historically, controlled huge parts of the banking system itself. Across major economies, we're talking England, France.
Germany, Italy. Yeah, the players.
They were essentially the architects, the operators of the whole credit system back then.
Yeah, and what's truly fascinating and really ironic when you think about it is that they ran the system, but they apparently refused to store their own wealth permanently inside it.
Right.
They built the pipes, you could say, but their own treasure wasn't just sitting in the reservoir. And this points to a really fundamental belief. The bank is a tool. It's for exchange, for flow. It's not a warehouse, not for long-term storage anyway.
So a tool, not a bolt.
Precisely. They saw money as fuel. Fuel for commerce, for investment, for lending, the real dynamic stuff happening in the economy. If your money is needed to help someone else grow or start something new, well, it has to be moving to keep it locked up while you're actually running a lending system. From their perspective, that might have looked like, well, financial negligence.
That makes the system feel like an engine. Yeah.
Yeah.
And stagnation is just gunking up the works. Yeah. And this idea, it wasn't just for the big players in high finance, right? It seems like a principle for behavior. Our forces share this really compelling story, a real-world anecdote from the Korean War. It involved a soldier from this community. Now, you might expect someone financially minded in the army to, I don't know, aim for a high rank, maybe manage supplies, something safe.
Right.
But this guy, apparently, he focused on mastering the flow of money among his comrades. He actually made a habit of lending out his salary to the other soldiers.
And here's where it gets really interesting, the sort of deeper implication.
Okay.
By circulating his capital, and we're talking small amounts here, military pay, not fortunes, but by lending it out, he didn't just earn back interest. He bought something intangible, something maybe far more valuable. Respect, position, influence within his unit. Think about it. When those other soldiers came back to him to repay their debts, they suddenly saw him differently, right? There was this relational equity now. Money, when it's used dynamically like that, it can actually be exchanged for status, for respect. Things that maybe a formal rank wouldn't even get you automatically.
Yeah.
It turns money into this powerful social tool, not just, coins to count.
It's like turning profit directly into influence. That's a huge shift in perspective.
Yeah.
But, okay, if we're going to challenge this modern idea of safety, this bedrock principle, we need to go a bit deeper. Let's maybe move from the historical stories to the philosophy itself. You mentioned decoding the nature of money.
Yes. The sources tend to define money not as like a static thing, an asset you just hold, but as pure energy.
Energy.
A force, yeah. Now, think about any kind of energy, a river, electricity, even just muscle power. When energy is held back, when it's constrained and not allowed to flow, what happens? It stagnates, it withers, the potential for anything new just dies off. But when it circulates, that's when it generates new energy, new value.
Okay, I get the philosophical point, I think. But here's where, the average person listening might push back a little. That savings account, even with low interest, it feels safe, like physically safe. My bank statement shows the number isn't going down, so why on earth should I risk moving it?
And that feeling of security is incredibly powerful. It's also, according to these sources, a bit of an illusion. Your bank statement, it's only telling you part of the story.
How so?
Because the argument is when you let money just sit there, it's actually being eroded. Slowly, maybe, but steadily, by forces that are unseen but totally predictable. We need to kind of make those forces visible.
Okay, let's name them. The classic ones, right?
Ah.
But let's really think about their weight. First up is obviously inflation. We all sort of know about it, but maybe we underestimate it.
Definitely.
You might see that small interest payment, sure. But if the cost of everything else, groceries, housing, gas, is going up faster than that interest rate, your money is effectively losing purchasing power.
Yeah.
Every single day it sits there. If $100 5 years ago bought you a week of groceries, and today it only buys, say, 3 days worth.
Yeah.
Well, your stored money hasn't grown, has it? It's actually shrunk relative to the world around you.
Precisely. That's the invisible drain. Then, the second factor, one people often overlook, unless maybe they have significant wealth, is inheritance tax, or even capital gains taxes on fixed assets. The money you're carefully storing today, thinking, this is mine, well, it might face pretty hefty taxes when it eventually tries to move, say, to the next generation.
Right.
Keeping it stagnant kind of makes it an easy target down the road.
Okay, and the third one?
And this one, I think, is maybe the most critical of the time value of money. Or you could just call it opportunity cost.
Yeah. What it could have been doing?
Exactly. It's the profit, the growth, the potential you give up by not having that money working for you right now. So, okay, you put $1,000 in a savings account, earns maybe 1%. Fine. But what if that same $1,000 could have been used to, say, buy some essential equipment for a friend's growing side business? And maybe that generates a 20% return that they repay you. By playing it safe, you didn't just lose 19% of potential profit. You lost all the future momentum that circulating that money could have sparked for both of you.
Wow. Okay, when you put it like that, the safe choice suddenly sounds, well, almost financially destructive. It brings us back to that core metaphor you mentioned from the source material. Saving without using the money is like hoarding seeds.
Exactly like hoarding seeds in some perfectly safe, climate-controlled warehouse.
Okay.
Imagine those seeds. They're safe from bugs, safe from bad weather, all neatly cataloged, perfect condition. But they will never sprout, they'll never feed anyone, they'll never multiply into a harvest.
They're not planted.
Precisely. By protecting the seed so much, you're actually denying its entire purpose, which is growth. Financial mastery, from this perspective, is about understanding those natural laws of growth. It's about doing money, being an active one, the planter, the person making sure it flows. When you just save it, you're basically letting it sleep. And sleeping money is just...
Well, it's money waiting to be chipped away by those three forces we talked about. Inflation, taxes, lost opportunity.
This all sounds great, philosophically. Really powerful. But let's get practical for a second. This huge mental shift, towards circulation. It sounds risky. I mean, really risky for some people. What about the folks who follow this advice? They invest their savings, they let the money circulate, and they lose everything.
Yeah.
For the average person, that fear, the fear of losing their nest egg, it's absolutely paralyzing. So where's the line? How do you tell intelligent circulation from just reckless gambling? That is, without a doubt, the most important question here. And the sources are quite clear on the differentiating factor. It boils down to the mindset that governs the circulation. It's about wisdom coming before greed.
Wisdom before greed.
Okay. Look, if you're moving money around just because you want quick, huge returns, chasing the next big thing, that's usually greed, or maybe just speculation. And history shows us, time and again, that usually leads to big losses eventually.
Right.
The sources really emphasize this. Money itself doesn't make you wealthy or secure, not inherently. It's the thinking about the money, the governance, the wisdom you apply to how it moves. That's what determines its real value and its path. You need a thoughtful, probably long-term framework for that flow.
So it's like we need to distinguish between gut instinct and actual intelligence when we look at our finances. Keeping money still just because you're scared, that's maybe a basic instinct, a fear response.
Could be, yeah.
But allowing money to operate smartly, putting it in places where it can genuinely create new value, that's the wisdom part.
Sure.
But, okay, how do we define that smart, practical wisdom for someone listening who maybe only has a small amount of capital to work with?
Well, wisdom in this context seems to be defined by intentionality and alignment with creating value. The recommended paths for circulation, according to what we've read, are usually the ones that feed the ecosystem, so to speak. It has to flow somewhere. It can create tangible value.
Tangible value. Like what?
So this could mean helping others develop, maybe through small-scale targeted lending, microloans perhaps, or investing in the knowledge and skills of your family, your colleagues. It means investing in businesses, in enterprises that actually produce something real, something needed in the world, rather than just, shuffling paper assets around.
Okay.
And this is crucial. It also means investing in yourself, your own capabilities, your education, your skills, because at the end of the day, you are your own best asset.
So the goal isn't just ROI, return on investment, in a purely financial sense. It's more like return on value creation.
That's a great way to put it.
If I invest in my own skills, my own internal enterprise grows, right?
Yeah.
And the money I spent comes back eventually as higher future earnings or opportunities.
Exactly right. And when money is used that way to help the community grow or others grow or yourself grow, it kind of stops being just a dead number on a spreadsheet. It becomes more like life energy. It's empowering real development, real progress. So wise circulation isn't about taking blind risks. It's more about calculated faith in the process of growth and multiplication.
This has really been a complete reframing of how we might think about financial security. So the core message for you listening to this seems to be this: the real secret to lasting financial strength isn't just building walls around your money to stop it from moving. It's more about protecting the powerful philosophy that guides how it moves. Using money to serve a long-term dynamic vision, not just your immediate fear of losing it.
Yeah. And if you have money today, if you've got those seeds sitting in the warehouse, so to speak, the advice seems to be, don't just cling to them purely out of fear. Because if you recognize what we discussed, by doing that, you're almost guaranteeing that they diminish over time. Let that money move. Let it circulate, but with intention. Like sending out a powerful friend who knows how to come back, hopefully bringing more abundance, more opportunities back with them.
It's interesting, the realization that money only thrives when it circulates. It doesn't just teach you about financial management, does it? It feels like it teaches you how to manage opportunity and potential in life itself.
How so?
Well, we often hold on to things, relationships, maybe old career paths, creative ideas, purely out of fear of loss, right? Fear of the unknown if we let them go or change them. Yeah. And sometimes, by holding on too tight, we just watch them wither, stagnate. Maybe money isn't so different.
That's a really insightful connection.
So here's maybe the final thought for you to carry forward from our deep dive today based on these sources. The rich are not superior to us simply in how much money they have, but perhaps in how they understand money operates. And the operation, it seems to be movement, circulation. Maybe think about what you're currently keeping stagnant in your own financial life or even beyond, and what value you might be preventing from sprouting.